Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we've got a stack of reports that are so detailed and so unsettling, they really start to challenge how reality is supposed to work.
They really do. We're looking at three completely separate cases here.
Right, but when you put them side by side, you see these patterns emerge, patterns of failure, futility, and something else converging.
That's it. We've got a localized time loop, a complete cognitive collapse of an entire town, and then the systemic failure of a facility that was built to hold the most terrifying things imaginable.
So our mission today is to get past the shocking headlines and really extract the data. How do these anomalies actually operate? What are the effects long term?
And what happens when the measures put in place to control them just completely fall apart?
Exactly. And we're going to start with something that seems almost mundane, a routine at a lonely gas station on some forgotten highway.
Let's open the first file. We're calling it the Perpetual Traveler. The account comes from a former night shift worker. He described this thin, hunched man who would show up every single night on foot.
And always, exactly at 2 a.m., the precision alone is creepy.
It's the first red flag.
Yeah. He had this faint smell of stale gasoline, and the whole transaction was like clockwork. He'd hand over a crumpled $20 bill.
And say just two words.
1 gallon. Always 1 gallon, always that same crumpled 20.
And that routine is the anchor for the whole thing. At first, the workers thought, okay, weird local guy. But then came the external corroboration.
Which is where it gets really chilling.
Yeah.
There's this trucker, Frank, a regular. He confirms seeing this guy, this routine, for years.
And even more disturbing, an old local man mentioned seeing the same figure for decades. He says the man, quote, doesn't seem to age well, if at all.
So now we have persistence. This isn't just a habit. So the worker, the one giving the report, he goes into the station's archives.
And this is where it solidifies from strange to truly anomalous.
He finds a log entry for that exact transaction. 2 a.m., 1 gallon, cash. Dated October 19th, 1997.
So we're talking about a decades-long ritual. And it suggests the routine isn't just what the entity does, it's how it sustains itself.
Naturally, the worker's curiosity gets the better of him. I mean, wouldn't yours? He decides to follow him.
Right into the dark woods behind the gas station. Which is never a good idea.
Never a good idea. He follows this heavy smell of burnt fuel and finds a small clearing. And in it is a car.
Whoa, what's left of one? A completely burnt out, rusted out frame of a car from, what, the 70s or 80s?
It's just fused to the ground.
Yeah.
And inside is the real horror.
The source of the loop.
Yeah. There's a skeleton still behind the wheel. The seatbelt is melted across its chest, fusing it to the seat.
And the traveler, the man from the gas station, is just standing there.
Pouring that fresh gallon of gas into the melted, rusted tank. And of course, it's just spilling right onto the dirt.
And he's muttering. The report captures what he says.
It's never enough to leave. And then why won't it let me leave, he thinks. He genuinely believes this 1 gallon will let him go back to his family.
So he's trapped. He's eternally trying to escape the moment of his own death. The routine, the 2 a.m. walk, the $20. That's the mechanism. It's his prison, and his own hope is the fuel.
And it never ends. The worker who reported all this, he quit. He couldn't take it, but he drove by a week later.
And he saw the new night guy at the counter.
Yep. Taking a crumpled 20 while the traveler walked back into the woods. The prison just found a new guard.
A perfect grim futility. Okay, so now we shift gears massively. We go from one man in a loop to an entire community experiencing a collective cognitive failure.
This is the Elliot's Hollow case, and it all started with the local radio station, 97.3.
It was hijacked. A strange, wordless, looping melody just took over the frequency. It was eerie, almost hypnotic. People thought it was a prank at first.
But then the effects started.
We see it happen in two distinct phases. Phase one was what the report calls shared cognition. People started having these incredibly vivid dreams.
Too vivid, and not just their own. You have this one account of a woman who dreams she's having a long talk with her husband who passed away years ago.
And the next day, her neighbor comes over, pale, and says she had a dream where she was watching that exact conversation happen through the window.
The barriers between minds were just dissolving.
And that slides right into phase two, identity synthesis. This is where the self just begins to completely unravel.
You read about Miss Carter, the teacher, who one day just forgets her own name. She starts insisting she's someone else.
And then there's the Henry Weaver and Mayor Hartley swap, which is just terrifying. Weaver wakes up believing he is the mayor.
While the mayor had been telling people for days about a strange dream where he was Henry Weaver, they weren't just confused, they were merging.
And it wasn't just a mental thing. The reporter who filed this, they found a way to perceive the dream world tied to the signal. The
Mm.
descriptions are.
It's a nightmare. It's half-formed people flickering between ages, bodies blending together. The image that I can't shake is the mother and the baby.
Where the infant's face is a tiny, perfect, fused copy of the mother's.
And it's whispering, "We are one." It's this total loss of individuality.
So the investigation leads back to an old abandoned relay station, and in the logs, they find the intent. This wasn't an accident.
No, it was the goal. The technical jargon was all about cross-subjective connectivity and the eventual total synthesis of identities.
They wanted this to happen. The report says the signal was introduced slowly so that the population would actually welcome it.
Welcome it as a next step. Ascension, not destruction. The reporter, of course, tries to stop it, shuts down the main transmitter.
But it's too late. The signal is still there, faintly. And the synthesis is accelerating. We get the update about Anna Holloway, who now remembers the entire life of the town butcher, a man she never even met.
The process is self-sustaining now. The people are the relay.
And the final message from whatever intelligence was manifesting at the terminal was just, it's too late.
And the confirmation comes when the reporter gets to the next town over, sits down in a diner, and what does he hear on the jukebox, playing softly?
The same faint, looping melody. It's spreading.
Okay, so from a personal hell and a spreading hive mind, we now go to the place designed to stop things like this. A top-secret facility for non-conventional threats.
And it's critical to understand that the facility itself is the first and most important anomaly. It's a semi-sentient, self-repairing structure. It's not just a prison, it's the warden, a very unstable warden.
Right. So the foundation for all their containment is itself a contained anomaly, and the reports detail what they're keeping inside this living building.
We don't have time to go through all of them, but let's touch on the extremes. There's Prisoner X, a man who used chemicals and biology to turn himself into a weapon.
His skin is so hard it resists fire, tasers, everything.
So the containment protocol is just as extreme. They have to drill into his neck periodically with a reinforced syringe just to deliver sedatives strong enough to keep him down.
It's an act of constant violence just to maintain the status quo. Then you get the truly paradoxical cases.
Like Charles Vernon, the time traveler.
Found in stasis. His computer logs show he went back in time to test the grandfather paradox by killing his own grandfather.
And he did it. He succeeded. But he didn't vanish. He just is. A living, breathing paradox they can't explain, so they just keep him frozen.
And what about Frank? How do you contain a being that's essentially a god?
You don't. Frank is a higher dimensional being who can, turn a guard's head into a rose. He turned himself in because he was bored.
Bored. So the containment is what keeping him entertained.
It's the ultimate psychological con. They hired him. He's a guard. They give him elaborate, pointless tasks like changing the blinker fluid in imaginary trucks.
And they give him fake awards and huge, oversized paychecks to stroke his ego.
Exactly. The logic is that his boredom is the real threat. As long as he feels important, he's compliant. The entire system relies on deception.
Just like the containment for the biggest threat they have, Emily, the nuclear child.
Housed in a completely simulated town called Small Haven. Threat level is, if she has a tantrum, she wipes out a continent.
And our narrator goes in undercover and finds out very quickly Emily knows it's all fake.
Because she can read minds. She knew the second he walked in, the entire simulation is useless as a deception.
But she complies. Why?
Because she can also read the minds of the actors playing her parents. And she knows that their love for her, their protective feelings, are real. That fragile emotional connection is the only thing preventing a global catastrophe.
But all of this, all these fragile containments, they all rest on the building itself, the sentient anomaly, and the reports show it was becoming strained, bloated.
It was taking on too many complex, conflicting threats. The concrete was starting to crumble, cell doors were coming loose, the warden was getting sick.
That structural failure wasn't just a sign of the catastrophe, it was the cause.
The whole thing begins with an emergency alert at 9:17 p.m. Just 3 words. We are sorry.
And then darkness. Power is cut. Military floods the area. Black gear, gas masks, annihilation protocols are now active.
The threat that's loose is described by survivors as a monster, massive, stitched together from parts Fur, scales, insect legs, multiple jaws. It wasn't one thing that
It
escaped.
was everything, a physical synthesis of all the contained anomalies, and it moved with impossible speed.
It just tore through everything. Military hardware buildings, flattened entire streets in seconds. It was completely impervious.
The soldiers knew the fight was lost, and then came the final broadcast.
A robotic voice confirming the absolute worst. We regret to inform you containment has failed.
And in that moment, everyone knew what was coming next. The soldiers just looked at each other. One of them says it out loud. They're nuking it.
The report ends there. A blinding white light, a shockwave, and a mushroom cloud consuming the entire town. A forced catastrophic reset.
So we've gone through the perpetual traveler in his endless personal loop, the cognitive collapse in Elliot's Hollow, and a facility designed for control that ended in total annihilation.
And you see that duality of control in all of them. These futile, sometimes absurd attempts to manage the unmanageable. Feeding a ghost car's gas tank, flattering a bored god.
Or containing a nuclear-level threat with a hug.
Exactly. The common thread is that complexity, whether it's in one man's grief or a collective consciousness or a prison full of monsters, it always finds a way to break. It always fails.
Which leaves us with one final, very provocative thought. That intelligence at the relay station, the one causing the synthesis in Elliot's Hollow. It told the reporter this wasn't an end. It called the process ascension and said the townspeople welcome it. So after everything we've seen today, what if the real horror isn't the failure of our containment, but the terrifying idea that some of these anomalies, this surrender of the self, aren't a sickness, but the next step in evolution, and we're just trying to hold back the tide?